Long live the king! Long live the king! King, not queen, king. So I'm in the shiny shimmery outfit and of course my crown. Right? Why am I in this attire? Because I want to share with you a very important leadership lesson. Are you ready? This is about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Do you know the story behind King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table? Let me share it with you. Let me remind it, okay? So you remember Merlin. You know, Merlin is the sorcerer in the olden times. And there was a prophecy and it involved Excalibur. You know, the sword that was in the rock? Okay. And the prophecy was whoever is able to pull the sword from the rock will be the next king. So all the strong knights, all the brave knights, they tried to pull, but obviously in vain. And here comes Arthur, a poor peasant boy. He went to the rock and saw Excalibur, and when he pulled it, he just pulled it so easily, and everybody was shocked. But guess what? He becomes king. So imagine this. A peasant boy is now the king. Means the boss of all the knights. Now, don't think of the knights as, just soldiers protecting the king. The knights actually had their own kingdoms. You know, Lancelot and Sir Gawain. They have kingdoms. They have lands. In other words, they're rich. And now they're asked to follow this peasant boy who suddenly became king. If you were Arthur, I'm sure you'd say, oh, that's a tough leadership role. But Arthur is a wise man. You know what he did? He built, or he had someone build the round table. Why? Because the round table means equality. There was no king. They were all brothers in one table. And practice this leadership lesson, which you can do in your teams, offices, organizations. This is about consensus. There are 3 rules of consensus. Number 1, everyone gets heard. Everyone gets heard. There is respect among all the participants, whether you are a supervisor or a staff or a manager 1, 2, 3, or a vice president. If you sit on that table, if you are asked to be in that meeting, then you have every right to be heard. And the leader, the CEO, or whoever's in charge of that meeting's job is to make sure that everyone gets heard. That's the first rule of consensus. Everyone's opinion matters. Everyone gets heard. Number 2, so that the meeting won't go too long and become toxic, the meeting has to have an agenda so that people don't digress. Minsan kasi may commercial, sometimes there are too many stories, side stories that people digress from the agenda and the meeting takes longer and longer. Have you ever attended a toxic meeting like that where the meeting was so long and no decision was made? King Arthur and his knights did the same thing. Every time they sat on the table, there was already an agenda. Would it be attacking a new kingdom? Would it be helping out a village? Whatever, but there was an agenda. So, rule number 1, everybody's voice is heard. Second, you must have agenda. And third, you must come to a single decision that is acceptable to all. This is not democracy where majority wins. Consensus is not voting yes, yay or nay. Nope, that's not it. Consensus means everybody understands and everybody comes in with their ideas, they're heard, and whatever decision is made is acceptable to all members. Is that hard? Yes, it is. So you can't do it, let's say in a stockholders meeting where you have 100 people. Consensus is done usually with a round table meeting, which means it's perhaps I'd say max 10 people of doing consensus meetings. Because in the end, rule number 3 of consensus is when a decision is made, when you go out from that meeting, you support that decision. You cannot go and say, I didn't decide on that. That was not my decision. No. When you come out from that meeting, you've got to support it. That's what consensus meetings are for. That is how you practice that leadership lesson. Did you like that, my dear subscribers? Well, that is only one of the many, many leadership lessons. Actually, one of the 52 leadership lessons that you will learn from a book that I wrote on my 50th birthday. So that was last year, and the book is called Lead and Be Led. I'm gonna show you. Okay, see, here's the book. Ta-da-da! So Lead and Be Led is a book that I wrote when I was for my 50th birthday, and I have sold, well, a lot of copies. I won't tell you anymore, but I've sold a lot of copies. And then 2020 came, and the pandemic happened, and of course, I didn't print anymore because we've sold out this book. And I said, people may not, there's no way for me to promote the book. There's no way for people to get an actual hard copy of the book. So what did I do for my 51st year on this planet? I made an ebook of Lead and Be Led. And I'm happy to share with all of you that Amazon has already published officially the ebook of Lead and Be Led. Now, in the coming weeks, we'll be coming out with a paperback also from Amazon.com. So do check it out. For those of you who want, you don't have to have a Kindle reader, huh? You can just do it from your phone or from your tablet. And of course, if you have Kindle, obviously. And please get a copy, an ebook copy of Lead and Be Led, and get ready to know more leadership lessons, just like King Arthur and Consensus. So, let's take this journey together, whether paperback or digitally.